join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time that we can come before you and in the presence of these folks and do the business of Hendry County. And we thank you that you have blessed us with the staff to help us do this job. We ask, God, that you would keep safe our first responders that are out there working today, and our law enforcement and EMS and fire. We ask, Father, that you be with those that have experienced tragedy here recently, Lord. I lift up the Lynch family and others, Father, and we ask, God, that you would be their peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
This is a regular meeting of the Hendry County Board of County Commissioners being held Tuesday, April 8, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the City Commission Chambers in Clewiston, Florida. In attendance are Chairperson Emma Byrd, Vice Chair Mitchell Wills, Commissioner Emery Howard, Commissioner Raymond Iglesias, Commissioner Michael Atkinson, County Attorney Matt Rollerson, County Administrator Jennifer Davis, and Deputy Clerk Sharon Congleton.
Thank you. This is County Board of Commissioner meeting. Good afternoon. We ask if you have any devices, if you would silence them for me, please. And if you like to speak, if you would get a card and give it to the clerk. Thank you so much. First things up is bids.
For the record, Shane Parker, Hendry County Public Works Director. RFQ number 2024-21, looking for board approval for the board to accept the selection committee ranking, where Tetra Tech was ranked number 1 to bring a contract back before the board. This is for the gravity sewer collection system in units 2 and 3 of Port LaBelle.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Iglesias, second by Commissioner Howard. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Next thing up is the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Iglesias, second by Commissioner Atkinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. At this time, we're going to go to the award, and Commissioner Howard's going to read the first proclamation. Is there anyone here from the, there's no one here? We're going to read it into minutes. Okay, you can read it into
Thank you. A proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, proclaiming April 2025 as Fair Housing Month. Whereas the Fair Housing Act, enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined into federal law the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. And whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Hendry County is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and to support programs that will educate the public about the right to equal housing opportunities, and to plan partnership efforts with other organizations to help assure every American their right to fair housing. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, does hereby recognize the month of April 2025 as Fair Housing Month in Hendry County, duly considered and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, this 8th day of April 2025.
Thank you so much. The next proclamation is Donation Life Month by Commissioner Iglesias.
County of Hendry, State of Florida, a proclamation of the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, proclaiming April 2025 as Donate Life Month. Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life. And whereas over 104,000 men, women, and children are currently on the national waiting list for organ transplantation, of which over 5,500 reside in Florida. And whereas 149, a historic number of organ transplants occurred in the calendar year 2024 in the United States, thanks to the generosity of 24,018 deceased and living donors. of which LifeLink of Florida honored more donors than ever before, serving 361 organ donors who provided 936 life-saving transplants to patients in need. And whereas more than 2.5 million people throughout the country and in Florida benefit annually from tissue transplantation, thanks to the thousands of tissue donors, and whereas the need of organ, eye, and tissue donation remains critical as a new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 8 minutes, and each day roughly 16 people die due to the lack of available organs. And whereas more than 11.1 million Floridians have already registered their decision to give the gift of life through an organ and tissue donation at www.donatelifeflorida.org or on their driver's license. And whereas LifeLink of Florida, the nonprofit organization dedicated to the recovery of organs and tissues for transplantation, therapy in Florida with a mission to honor donors and save lives through organ and tissue donation. Now therefore be it proclaimed, the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida does hereby recognize the month of April of 2025 as Donate Life Month in Hendry County. Duly considered and adopted by the Board of County Commissioners of Hendry County, Florida, this 8th day of April 2025.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone here representing them? Okay, thank you so much. At this time, we're up to staff reports. Okay, did I miss it?
Oh.
And it's on here just as nice, and I see it.
I missed it on our review as well because it doesn't have the link below it.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that.
I do those too. From the IT department.
Kind of ironic.
Really?
Yeah.
That had to be planned.
IT Director Don Burkhart for Hendry County. I was asked to give a presentation today regarding the IT department for Hendry County. I did want to kind of keep it brief because I do have a habit of kind of rambling on, I guess. Someone asks me what time it is, and I'll say, tell them how to build a clock type scenario. So we're going to try to do our best to keep it sweet and simple. We're going to talk about the responsibilities of the IT department and then our goals for the upcoming years. Okay, so the IT department has a crucial role in Hendry County. We are basically, we provide to Hendry County services that aid people in their jobs. So we're really an internal department. We really don't interact with the residents or any of them, but we help our staff do what they need to do so they can perform their jobs. Some of the things we do inside IT department is we do network management. We take care of all of our infrastructure, which means switches, routers, firewalls, even devices that add security to our system, but also give us the ability to transfer information back and forth freely as we can. We also working on modifying legacy systems, basically old systems, or taking a manual process that we perform and try to innovate it and try to be more efficient by applying IT to the process. We manage the data that is stored on the systems, be it it's on the cloud or in-house. The emails, we maintain all that data. We maintain the storage of everybody's files. We do the backups. We do everything we need to protect the data. And so we have the ability to kind of mine the data and to be able to pull information from the data as we need it. We provide cybersecurity. We make sure we work diligently on cybersecurity. We actually, as of last Monday, found that we had an uptick in trying to get into people's email accounts. So we've been kind of watching that and receiving. Even this weekend, my staff and I, we're working on possible issues, but they panned out that it was stopped. All the MFAs that we enacted in here worked. So luckily for us, we had all set up for the staff. We develop or work on developing policies. So any IT policies, how you use your device, cybersecurity policies, that type of thing. And we also make sure that people using the technology, we make sure that people will abide by it. Case in point, the MFA. So not only did we enact the MFA as a policy that we have for the county, but we also put in place the infrastructure for that MFA and the requirements for it in the actual technology. We do support by training, and we empower the employees by giving them the knowledge on their system, like their computers, how to use applications. We also, in this technical support, is a lot of times we're liaisons between cloud vendors, technical vendors, and the employees themselves. So if they have an issue and they can't seem to get straightened out with the basic support for the company, they usually come to us, and then we work on trying to get it resolved for them. And then, as I said before, training and development. So training on cybersecurity, training on their devices. We're trying to initiate right now training on Teams and get that up and running so that we have a better communication and be a little more efficient between the staff members. So ultimately, this will bring us to our goals. We want to take these sections and improve on them. One thing is we want to empower our workforce. We want to be able to give them the tools that they need to do what they need. And with today's world and the fast-paced world that we have today, we need to be able to turn over a lot of work, basically, be a little more efficient. That seems to be the buzzword of today, is to be efficient. So that's what we work on. We also manage the data. We want to manage the data better so that we can have a quicker response on giving reports to the commission, be able to show you graphs, show you pie charts, give you the information on, like we had with Tommy with code enforcement and all that. We want to be able to try our best to provide the data and be able to have them access the data quickly and efficiently. Digital transformation, basically what that is to improve our back end, to improve the IT that we have, make sure that the switches are up to date, make sure that the firewalls, routers are up to date, make sure that we're expecting that we have the ability to take anything and push it to the cloud if we need to, if we find that's the better place to place it. So we also cybersecurity. And that's probably right now coming to the forefront of what we need to do in protecting our systems. And it's not only just technology to protect us from cybersecurity, it's really got to be policies in place. It's got to be behavior. One of our biggest issues with cybersecurity is the fact that, I'm trying to remember the word now that they use, but basically that they have the ability to go to, if they find out like an individual is part of Hendry County, or you can go to LinkedIn and find out who it is, and then you can go to Facebook and you can look at that there, and then you can move on. Next thing you know, you can contact them. You start basically building a profile on the person, and then eventually be able to get into their system and cause havoc. So that's not the only way of getting in, but that is one way that we have to work diligence on training and all that. And that's basically it in a nutshell.
it seems like we're at a point now through emails that it's risky to open up any email, because even the emails that you would think that are normal, right, the ones that you get common, are being duplicated by these hackers. And I know that a few years ago I had the opportunity to listen to somebody from Homeland Security speak at a PRM conference, and I was blown away as to on the meat packing plant that was hacked for, I don't know, $30 million ransom a few years back, and how the FBI said that the threshold, if it meant transportation, money, so on and so forth, they hit like 7 different thresholds out of, I think, 12. Is that right?
Something like that.
It's just mind blowing. So I just like I reached out to you the other day. I was like,
Yeah.
is this spam? Like, is this
Right.
legit?
Yeah, actually, you reached out with the training program we have with the
Yeah.
fishing training.
I just
yeah.
don't want to click on any links.
I
but-
agree. If you have any concerns about an email, please contact us.
Yeah.
We will definitely send
would-
you in the right direction.
I would just suggest that you just harp on our staff, and I don't care if it's monthly. Heck, Aldelia sends out an email, seems like every few weeks, about that blood drive. I'd rather send reminders out about don't click on an email that you don't know anything about, or a link, because I'm telling you, it's not if, it's when we get hit. So,
Yeah, we just enacted a program that quarterly you have to complete questionnaire, a whole training on it. A lot of this is coming down from the state. For us, they have the Cybersecurity Act that we have to maintain, and we are definitely in the right direction on getting this all set up.
And just for the board's awareness, we have had some third-party folks look at our system as of late for various reasons, and we checked out. And so just to
great.
give you
Yeah,
some-
we had someone
great job.
Yeah.
inspect our system, and I was actually really kind of surprised on some of the things that came up that we had to dig in and realize, oh yeah, I did that, that type of scenario that they dug up, and something from 5-6 years ago that they dug up from their system, which I validated, and so everything came through pretty well. So,
All right, good job. Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. So since my. Thank you so much. So just FYI, the training was for me. I'm green, so they realized that I needed help. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. They say you never get too old to learn. So that at this time we are going to Miss Davis. I missed-
This is,
Wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Chair,
No,
Chair, I
I'm
believe
just
it's
coming back up.
my item on staff reports.
Thank you,
This,
Matt.
this item 1 is requesting that the board authorize Matt Rollerson, County Attorney for the record, me to terminate the agreement with Signal for the Hendry County Jail flood restoration. We've had some issues, and they would like to not perform the work, and we would like them to not perform the work as well, so.
Madam Chair, I move option 1.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner, Wells, second by Commissioner, I believe that was DeGracia.
It's fine.
DeGracia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion stands. That's, you did A and 1 and 2, was that for 1 and 2?
This-
That's just 1.
Just
this-
for 1?
The next one is the remodel portion.
Yeah, item 2 is seeking the board's authorization to proceed with the jail remodel, utilizing Jim Sabella as a project manager, and to hire subs directly and waive the procurement policy, except that items that would exceed $10,000, you'd have to obtain written quotes for that. We're trying to expedite that process and get it going and complete.
Madam Chair, move we take option 1 as stated by Mr. Rollerson.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Howard, second by Commissioner Wells, all in favor?
I got a
Aye.
couple comments.
We have a comment. Thank you.
I just want to make sure that we hire licensed, insured contractors or subcontractors. I just want to make sure that,
Part of the conditions that your, the motion that you made is requires the use of an approved contract through the county attorney's office. So we'll be doing that. And of course, that's part of our requirements.
Okay.
So,
Because I think this will be a great option like we spoke earlier. So I think it'll be good if this works out. It'll help us in the future.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands. Thank you so much.
Don't mind if we could go to item D2 first from Mr. Proverbs and do that item first, and then we'll go into the West Recreation discussion.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Ian Proverbs for Budget Director. I just have brought to you the documents to go with the bank loan to purchase the 3 ambulances. This is something that you had voted on a month ago.
And you just need a motion to approve?
Yes,
I'll
these are
make-
just, you already approved the purchase, but these are the actual documents for the loan. Yes, sir.
So we're making a motion to approve the signature of the loan documents? Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Iglesias, second by Commissioner Atkinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion stands.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time.
Great job, Ian.
At this time, we're going to West Rec.
Okay. Last meeting, I brought to you the recommendation from the Recreation Board with the specifications and the procurement process for the concession building for Forey Park. And I will say, I appreciate Commissioner Iglesias, stepping up and saying, hey, let's take some time and look at this, because he was absolutely right. And in that time period, I met with Ms. Davis, and we were talking about ways to look at the budget to make sure that this, if it goes to the $2.5 million, what does that mean in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and 5? And so the handout everybody was sent today sort of gives us that picture. And what it really shows is the cash balance forward by the time you get to 28, 29 is gone. And we're then in the negative. Now, there's some other things on the side that are in red, like gives the estimated assumptions for inflation and salary growth for each of the employees, annual health care increases, and it assumes a 50% reduction in expenses for the baseball field completion. There's a couple of things that probably don't have any impact financially on the building. I'm
Sorry, can you elaborate on that part? Is that because you're using man hours or woman hours now at the field, for construction that's no longer going to be needed after the fact? Is that what that?
Right, right, yes, sir. And then on the increased costs of the kitchen cleaning, that's something that Little League does. We don't pay to do that. And of course, the grease trap, there won't be a grease trap, it'll go into sewer. So, but those numbers there really don't have much of an impact
Okay.
on it.
Yeah, hold on. You want to clear, I want to let the water guy.
There'll still be a grease trap. It's gonna be required to have a grease trap for the fog implementation the city's doing right now, so it'll definitely still have a grease
Oh,
trap.
okay, yes, no, I'm sorry, you're right, absolutely. So at this point now, I'm not so sure that the next step is to go back to the rec board and see how we want to, if we want to make any adjustments. And I'd like to ask Commissioner Wills what his position is on it after taking a look at this.
I've got a chance to talk to Jennifer about it today, and I don't see any way in the world where we're gonna spend $2 million to build a concession stand. We had that conversation, and they were at $350 and up a square foot for turnkey. I don't think commercials went up that much. Maybe it has. You guys do it all the time, but I don't think it's that much yet. The lighting on the field, we have $40,000 worth of lights to complete, and that's all that's left. 2 poles to put back in when the concession stand's built that can't be put back in until the work is done. So we're probably gonna be somewhere around the 1 to 1.5 million realistically. But, you know, on the same token, you know, you look at this here and you gotta understand, this is half your budget. You have that same amount in recreation. So this isn't your total recreation budget. This is your total budget for Forey Park only. So we still have the capability of having the funds to do what we need to do. You have another $533,000 in recreation that's on the other side that can be spent in Forey. Forey can't be spent in the other recreation budget. So just so we all understand that. And the only reason I'm even looking at this, to be honest with you, is I want this park open. And the only way we're gonna get this park open is get the concession stand built. We don't need a Taj Mahal, we need to sell hamburgers and hot dogs. So I think we need, and I've said this many times at a rec board meeting, we need to look at the design. Let's drop this thing back from 3,000 or 4,000 square feet to 1,500 square feet.
It's 6,500 square feet.
Well, they say
Well, that's what I'm saying, is drop it
65.
back, and let's be realistic about it. And then again, look at your turnkey price, rather than $350 a square foot, probably gonna be somewhere between 175 and 200.
Madam Chair, I'm going to get on my soapbox for a little while. The existing loan that you guys have now, Commissioner Howard and Wills, what is the remaining balance of the existing of 1.4 million? What was that loan for? 3/4 of the way down. It's highlighted in yellow, or right above the line item in yellow. What was that 1.4 million?
1.4 was originally for the field, and if they had actually done something with it, when we could have done something with it, we'd have been able to open the gate fields by now. Commissioner, very good question. I'm glad you asked that. When I was elected in 2016, I was told that didn't exist.
All right.
Also, $780-something thousand in an account that I was told did not exist. Here we are. And now things are 4 or 5 times what it cost. That's the issue we're having now. Good question.
Page 1 of 18 on the RFQ, RFP, it says concession building, a place where patrons can buy food, drinks, and other items. Commissioner Wills, you mentioned a phrase that I've used several times on the diocese, the Taj Mahal. And I use another phrase in Tallahassee when I went begging for money. It's wants versus needs. And I think it's as simple as that. You guys have a concession stand that has a bread oven, a caramelizer, soft serve ice cream. I love the Nisbets, but I hear complaints.
Wait a minute. We need to leave that in there. I'm getting older, my teeth.
Listen, I'm a soft serve guy too. But my point is, you got staff at McDonald's that have issues with ice cream machines all the time, and we're going to expect that volunteers are going to keep that machine up. You got a Cornelius soft drink machine, which, I mean, I'm not in the restaurant business anymore, but it used to be if there's a volume, Pepsi or Coke would provide the soft drink machine as long as you bought the product for them. I'm leaning with you, Commissioner Wills. We need to keep it basic. We need to go back to the board and look at what they have. And I will mention this. In your RFQ, you mentioned about Rock or Steven being the project managers.
No.
Not for that at all.
Me neither.
Rock, it is what it is if he is, but I don't think, and with all due respect, I don't think Steven is the right person, and that's y'all's decision as far as the West Rec Board. But you guys know that I've been outspoken on the rodeo grounds. I've been outspoken on the soccer fields. And just as recent as right before Swamp Cabbage, I walked that property of the rodeo grounds. And I took numerous photos, and I'll be honest with you, I was not a happy camper knowing that we just went through this a few years ago. I say that to say, when you look around the city of LaBelle, I see food trucks everywhere. I'm not a fan of food trucks. I'm not a fan of food trucks because the brick and mortar businesses in Hendry County are the backbone of our county. And I feel that the food trucks take away from those that are paying ad valorem tax and garbage bills and have a lot of overhead. What I will say, though, is instead of spending $2.5 million on a concession stand, okay, can we get the parks open? I remember going to y'all's board in November of '23, and I was outspoken because, you know, a lot of people were questioning why the Cluelson commissioner was over there. But my district of Port LaBelle represents 33.5% of that West Rec budget, and that was back in November of '23. But I'd rather see food trucks at the ball fields prior to having $2.5 million on a concession stand, because I do believe it's the Taj Mahal. We're not Palm Beach County. Every time we go to Tallahassee begging for money, we say the same thing. We're a fiscally constrained county. I just don't see in my heart of hearts, how can we be conservative? We should be borrowing money for that water expansion plant that you need, Jimmy, for what we need for fire and safety, Commissioner Howard. But I just can't see borrowing money on a concession stand. And I'm sorry, I'm all for recreation. I'll do anything for the kids. I don't feel that's the right use of funds, especially considering we have a $1.4 million note from back in the day that is out there that we still hadn't paid off. And
How much
so,
they still owe on that note?
All of it.
All of it?
yeah, I mean,
900,000.
and just go back to what I was saying. It's wants versus needs. I would love to have a facility, a state-of-the-art facility. But you know what? I don't think we even need a remote operated TV mount. I don't care if it costs us 10 extra bucks. We don't need it.
Well, let me just come in there. You kind of got me where I can talk to you. Food trucks, said that. League denied it. Don't want the field, don't open the gates. Don't want that.
Who said that?
The leagues, if you can't have a concession stand, we don't want to use the park. So we told them, guess what? We're not gonna have a concession stand this year. So then, let me keep going. As far as a concession stand, at one point, it was a 2-story concession stand. So since I've been on the board, I said, no, we're not building a 2-story. If you want to have the capability of going up one day, fine. Put the infrastructure in place, you can. But realistic, again, we need to cook hamburgers and hot dogs and sell Cokes. I don't care if there's a TV in it. The only thing I want there, I want to be able to sell hamburgers, Cokes, hot dogs, and I want a lightning detector to tell the kids to get off the field, and people out there with enough sense when it goes off to tell them to get off the field. And other than that, I really don't care. But reality is, if we don't get something in there and we don't do something soon, that's going to be another 2 years before that park's open. And that's just not acceptable. We have to do something to get that park open.
Absolutely.
Now, back to the rodeo grounds and the other parks, all of them's horrible. You should come over and spend a day. I'll give you a ride around in my city job. That way it's not conflicting. So there's a lot of issues with recreation right now. I'm not happy with any of our parks. Let's just put it out there and be blunt with it. I'm not happy with any of our parks. Our county parks are failing, the city parks are failing, and there's stuff that needs to be looked at there as well. So don't ask, if you don't want to know.
So, Commissioner, when I looked at it, I said, my God, they need to scale back. So, when saying scale back, what if you had to do something, what would be the first thing you do?
Cut the size way down.
Okay.
I would put something big enough there to sell hamburgers, hot dogs, and cold drinks.
So let's start there, because I
Well,
do
the bathroom
think,
minute,
I
you're
do
done.
think that, if you scale back, at least you can get started and put something there, and then you make a plan every year to add something, do phases, don't try to do it all at one time. You know, scale it back and start small and then grow. But, I just think it's such a large ask when you already got, 1.4 million, and then you want to add 2.5 to it. That's a lot, but do something, I agree with you, but let's start on scale back some.
Yep.
Take the size down, make sure you have a simple concession stand in the future come. If it grow, you know.
Is there a set of bathrooms at the park now? No,
There is bathrooms there, yeah.
there's bathrooms.
Because
Because
they're not going to be, they wouldn't be,
adequate.
not with the volume.
We built a set of bathrooms and a concession stand for Moorhaven back a few years ago, about 18, 19, before everything exploded. Nothing like this. It was about 120. You know, now it would be 250. But, you know, it's functional. It had all the, you know, stainless steel sinks and tables and plumbing, bathrooms. Didn't have a hood in it, so, but I think, you know, $400,000 or $500,000, you can build a nice, very nice facility, hardened, all block, concrete roof, where you can add a set of stairs and a second floor later. You know, and, you know, $500,000 on a concession stand that gets used 3 months a year, is still on that high end. So, like Commissioner Iglesias said, the kids are our future. We take more and more from them, they don't have anything to do. So we got to do whatever we got to do to give them a place to go. But we've got to do it in a way where it doesn't, 3 years from now, we're in the hole. We don't have the money to paint it. We don't have the money to upkeep it. So that's where I'm at today is, I think there's a way to move forward. It's just having those conversations.
Commissioners, have y'all considered the facilities that you guys have at the rodeo grounds? Square facilities, something simple. Of course, you probably would make it bigger because the anticipation of the growth. But, I know that in construction industry, the octagon shape is part of the problem with expense on the building cost. If Rock was here, he can elaborate more on that. But keeping it simple and something along those lines, but maybe a little bit bigger. I mean, have you guys had that conversation? I haven't watched y'all's meetings. I have a hard time hearing them on.
We got one next Thursday. You'll hear really good if you come in person.
Okay. Yeah. Is that an invite, Commissioner?
Yeah.
Cordial
But
invitation.
You remember
to
the
all
last
of you.
time I went?
That goes both ways, left
Yeah.
and right. So
But-
come on down.
Going back to Commissioner Byrd's comment about doing it in pieces, it's somewhat difficult to do that because once you have to build the concession building, and then you're going to close it up with 2 other fields. So once you do that, there's no going back into it. You won't be able to, that's why we can't finish those 2 fields now. We have to do the concession building now before those get done.
The building we built in Moorhaven, it was an existing facility for 30 years. We went in between and, we had to pump the concrete. Those things we had to do that, we couldn't just store everything right there on site. We had to truck it in, kind of bring it at times to make
Did you
it
have to
work.
move the fence?
We had to move a fence.
You'd have to, a light pole.
Yeah.
Light poles, we didn't have to move no light poles, which
Yeah.
get a little bit more costly, but
Right.
I think there's a way to get the fields done and still, especially looking forward, knowing that this has to be done much bigger to minimize what has to be moved later. Unfortunately, every site in construction gives you some different type of challenge you've got to face. I'm building a house on Ventura. I got 9 feet on each side. I'm having trusses dropped to flying with a crane because they're going to be sticking in the road. But, it's just some things we've got to do sometimes, unfortunately, to make things happen. So,
Well, again, hamburgers, hot dogs, and cold drinks. Potato chips.
Sunflower
What a building
seeds.
looks like.
Better have them sunflower seeds.
Are you gonna clean the dugout? Because I used to have to do that as a coach. That and bubble gum wrappers. But, in all seriousness, I think this is something that I would love for you guys to come, and I'd love to take the opportunity to walk out there and look at this in person with you. Because again, I've been saying all along, and I've been saying it for years, we need a number before we do anything. Well, we finally decided we want to finish the park, finally. I'm in my 9th year, I think. So I would love to have the input, and that's something we can do. One-on-one, we can go out there. We can't go as a board. I can go out there as a city employee and drive you around, and we can look at it. We ain't got to discuss anything we're going to vote on, because all we're going to vote on is whether or not we're going to approve to go out for the loan. That's it. We can discuss the building, we can discuss the dimensions of it, we can discuss all of that. That's nothing we're going to vote on. On the rec board, the only 2 can't discuss that is Commissioner Howard and myself. The rest of us, we can have those conversations. And the experience and knowledge, that's a wealth. Why aren't we using it? So it's a county-city recreation deal.
And I don't want to knock you guys. I know you guys put in a lot of work to get to this point, but man, that's a lot of money.
Well, we're working off of a design also that came before at least most of us, I believe.
both of
And I think that Commissioner Wills is 100% correct. To go another 2 years and not open those ball fields would be a travesty. It really would.
I remember the goal when I went to that meeting in November of '23. Kyle Owens was in there, and I questioned, when's the baseball season start? He said March. I said, well, let's try to reach that goal, which didn't accomplish, but you got to have a goal. And here we are the following March, and we didn't hit that goal either. So, and I say we, because we're all part of it, right? So let's work together and figure out how to make something happen, just not the Taj Mahal.
Well, and there are 3 fields that are they're pretty much ready to go with a little bit of tweaking. And the food truck thing for a temporary answer to that can be done.
May I add, and I'm just adding, because I recently go to the Davis Pratt Park now, because my grandson's playing T-ball, and if my memory serves, I think there's food trucks. I mean, I just literally thought about it right now as we were talking about it, but it seems like last time I was there, am I wrong?
Opening day.
Oh, okay.
They do it regularly. There's no room for them. There's no parking lot.
Okay, because
Yeah,
I
there's not room in the
remember,
parking lot, so.
I'm just remembering now that I thought I saw them.
Well, look, I'm not like Commissioner Iglesias. I like food trucks.
Hey, so
A greasy hamburger and a hot dog, and I'm good.
one other question: how much skin in the game does the baseball rec board have in it?
The baseball or the rec board?
The baseball.
Little League?
They're the ones that
Well,
say they don't want food trucks, right?
They were the ones,
No.
well, no, that was
No.
board members.
Oh.
Board members didn't want the food trucks.
Oh, I got you.
They old board members like you, I don't like food trucks.
Yeah. No, I love the food. I'm just saying it's.
Calm down, Commissioner, I'm just kidding. But all joking aside, whatever we gotta do,
Yeah.
if we can set a date, we got a meeting in LaBelle in 2 weeks. Maybe you come an hour early that day, some of you, we go out, we actually look at it, and we have the conversation again. That way you're seeing exactly what it is, exactly what we're needing.
Matt, do you recommend that?
Do we need to advertise
That's
it?
the little gray, right?
Do
Can we
that?
make it a
Well, we-
workshop, on-site workshop?
Well, we're not going to vote on any of that.
But you're gonna talk about something that you might vote on.
Yeah, it's a little, it's getting into some
Be in
dangerous
the shade, there's
territory.
oak trees out there.
And you make it a public, make it a. put
Public
in the-
work site?
Make it a public
We
work
can
site.
notice it.
We can notice
If
it
you
as a
noticed it and took
on-site
minutes, you
workshop.
could do it as a group.
Okay.
Well, we got 2 weeks.
That'd probably be the safest way to do it.
Okay.
That's
Do
what
a
I'd recommend.
workshop, LaBelle, the other rec members can be there?
Do we have time to
Yeah, we
notice it
can-
for 2 weeks?
You gotta do the other
Can't you
board
post it
meetings, so-
online and make it
So,
legal,
Yeah, we
right?
can make that happen.
No?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Commissioner Atkinson was trying to speak.
Well, that was if we can have an on-site workshop, I think that would, we can all be there together, we can talk, we can, public can be there, we can.
And you're saying
Well,
Thursday?
The only reason I said that's because you gotta be in LaBelle already. And I know that's, for some of you folks, that's an extra day
Well,
off.
I've got a TDC meeting at 3 in Clewiston, and then I'll be back in LaBelle for an auction for the Barron Library. So I'd rather, if we can, do it in the morning Thursday, or whatever. I mean, I'll make it work. I just got to be. I'm the chair of the TDC. I got to be there. So
I'm good Saturday, any day.
Yeah, I won't be here that Saturday. I'll be out of town. But, whatever we gotta do to make this happen, brothers and sisters, we need to do it. I'm open. We got a board meeting next Thursday night. Maybe you'd like to come. That is a publicized meeting. There's nothing in,
I'll be there.
you can be there.
Maybe an hour.
Actually, that was the day that I was.
An hour prior. That's what you say
Well,
you
no,
have.
ma'am, that's just a meeting for the rec board, and these guys as commissioners can be
Next
there.
Thursday?
What day is that meeting?
Next Thursday.
what time?
17th,
5, I believe, 5 o'clock.
5:30.
I'm not
Oh, they
sure
changed
yet.
the time, bro.
Something's
Did you look at
something
it?
going on.
Did they? On this
So,
one?
hang on. Let's look at Ms.
I have to
Belcher.
look, it's something going on 17th, and I'm not sure what it is.
You gonna have security there?
You're gonna need it. It is at 5:30, I'm sorry, you're
Where's
correct,
that guy
Commissioner.
again?
Well, there's a lot of arguments going on, and recreation's a hot topic. That's the reason I'm asking you guys, maybe you should come. Maybe it's something we start taking care of our own parks. I don't know. We need to think about that.
I could have that
Tommy-
conversation.
Tommy could take over every bit of that.
Oh, you hadn't told him yet, Jennifer? Oh, we'll talk offline. That is a great point. So I'm gonna get on my soapbox again. So I do have a problem with getting calls from constituents about the facilities that we have, knowing that, and nothing against the board members, but you have an organization that is responsible for West Rec. They're paid through the county and under the county insurance, but our own county administrator doesn't have any say-so over it. I struggle with that. I struggle with that. I'd rather all or none. So,
I would certainly be willing to consider, put on one hat and turn it around for recreation if we had to, as a dependent board.
So Matt, do we need a motion to move forward on the discussion that we just had concerning the West Rec?
Well, no, I don't think so, Chair. The consideration was
discussion.
this, and I think the direction was that another design's gonna be brought forward at some point. Before you go to district by district, though, I had forgotten to mention that I would like to schedule a shade meeting for the first meeting in May to discuss the respective land use lawsuits. And I'm supposed to announce that at a public meeting before we do it, so that's when we're doing it. It'll be noticed. We will do it like we did before, so we'll begin the meeting and then we'll adjourn and go to the shade meeting, then we'll adjourn that and go back into regular session.
That's the 13th.
That's the 13th.
Yes.
Thank you so much. But it'll be a 6 o'clock meet, right? Our regular 6?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the West Rec? Any other discussion?
One thing, if we're worried about time, and if everybody can work it out, we could always move it the week after the meeting. I hate for you guys to drive to LaBelle twice, but if we moved it back to the week of the 28th, one day during that week there, that gives you 3 weeks. Should be planning to get all the legal notice and everything we need. And we could actually just have a special meeting there on recreation. That would allow us to have more conversation on just recreation, if you guys could work that out on your schedule. Week of the 28th, that gives you the 3rd week to prepare.
I know they have a meeting on the 29th, a public hearing, don't y'all think it's a public
The
hearing?
FBOT meeting, but that's on Tuesday. So
Yeah.
you're saying 28, Monday, the
Any day that week,
yeah.
the week of the 28th, yeah. That gives us a 3rd week to actually make sure we are covered with all the advertisements we need. There's whatever y'all's schedule would allow there.
I'm good, let's set a date and.
Look like Monday's good for me.
The 28th? So
Yeah.
That's fine.
that would give you more time, Mr. Austin?
Yeah, we could certainly have it done. We could do it as a workshop, I think, because I don't expect motions to be handled at that time. It's really a fact exchange.
We'll do an on-site workshop, correct, at the 4A
ma'am.
Park.
At the Ford Park. Does that work for you, brother?
Yeah.
You open on the 28th? Can we set it on the 28th? Everybody good with that?
What time?
What
I'm good.
time?
That's
You good?
again,
I'm good, whatever time.
I'm good either.
I'm up
I'm a
about
morning
3 in the
person.
morning, so.
Let's do a morning.
brother, at 3 in the morning, you're by yourself.
You buying breakfast?
I'd love to meet that meet, but I can't make it.
Anytime.
We can do it in the morning, and then Mitch could buy breakfast.
I can do that.
What time
That's
do
a
you
bribe,
want,
though. Just remember she said that. I better get your vote.
those of you driving, what time do you want to?
It doesn't matter to me, I just prefer mornings.
That's up to you. Gentlemen, it's up to you.
I'm good anytime.
9 o'clock that morning, you want to do mornings?
9 o'clock's fine.
9 o'clock good? That it is then.
Okay.
Is that good, Mr. Alderson?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
As long as it's not 3, okay? Jesus. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're meeting on the 28th at 9 a.m. in the morning of April. So at this time, we are going to old business. Anybody have any old business? This is a public hearing. Anyone from the public wishes to speak at this time? Thank you. At this time, we're gonna go from district. Commissioner Grace.
District by district. All right. I'd like to recognize Simona Rodriguez from Code Enforcement. I was going to let her speak for 30 minutes a little while ago, but we kind of ran over, so I'm going to take that pressure off of her. But I do want to recognize her because, at this diocese, we always compliment Tommy and his team as the great work they're doing in code enforcement. But Simone, I wanted you to hear personally because you have a great leader, and he recognizes you guys all the time. He never takes credit, but thank you for everything you've done for code enforcement, helping Tommy straighten out what's there. And then this past week, last week, we had Country Village had recognized county staff. We had the Road and Bridge Department. We had Plus out there. We had Tommy. We had Sheriff Department, for all their efforts with the road project that happened in Country Village and some other improvements they've had within their community. And they did a nice spread for all of our team, and I'd like to recognize them as well for taking that extra time. Our staff deserves it. They've made a community completely different than what it was. I was talking to Greg Bone the other day, and he said that it's actually helped the real estate market in Country Village. I think Kevin and your team with the sheriff department would recognize it's a lot easier to patrol. Y'all probably might have not even patrolled there before because you're tired of your vehicles getting beat up, but actually I think you guys will stroll through there. So thank you for what you guys do as well. And that's all I got.
I have just one issue or discussion that I wanted to have, and it was a discussion Commissioner Wills and I had a few meetings ago. It was about the bus stops on Case and Evans Road and A Road. And there was a thought that there were some bus stops where they were not on a driveway, so to speak. So Jerry Jones went with me and helped out. We went down and we rode all three roads, looked at every bus stop, and every bus stop has a culvert and a driveway for them to stand on. Now, what we don't know, and maybe this is a next step to it, is how many kids walk to that, and then they're walking on the road or a steep edge. And I'm not sure we have the answer for that, but Commissioner Wills, do you want to add anything to that, or?
No, you're right on point. That was what we talked about, Commissioner. We was looking at trying to make it safer for the kids on those roads. The lighting you're doing in there, I went and looked the other day. That's going to be very nice. I know some people are complaining, but what you're doing, you're never going to make them happy. But what you're doing down in that area is definitely a safety, amazing what you're doing. So I appreciate you taking the time going to look at that.
Yeah, well, the answer truly is you pipe one side of the road all the way down and put a sidewalk on it, but that's money that we don't have, so that's all I have, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I really don't have a lot either. Again, staff takes the heat for us. We sit up here, we make the decisions, and staff takes the heat, especially code enforcement. I know that throughout the area that I have, I get a few calls, but probably nothing like y'all do. And we do. We brag on you all the time, and I'll be honest with you, I don't have a problem cutting somebody off when they're running you down. I don't have a problem with that. Tommy, I pick on Tommy all the time, but Tommy, you've done an amazing job in the position you're in. Commissioner Iglesias said that earlier, but it goes beyond that. Anytime I've called with garbage issues or anything else, you've corrected those. So when I pick on you a lot, that means you're doing a really good job. Mr. Parker has helped us out a lot with all the engineering. I'd honestly sit here and say I believe we have the best engineer in the state of Florida. And I don't say that because I want anything. I don't need any sidewalks or anything else yet. But I might need your vote on sidewalks later. But all joking aside, and Jimmy and his crew, Jimmy's got a crew that's just unbelievable. Them young men, man, they go to work. And that all stems from the head. When you guys look around, it stems from the head down. That shows the leadership that you have in place. And it starts with Miss Davis. Miss Davis she's always, I see her there too many nights late, and I always want to text her and say, what are you doing? But I kind of look at her like I do Alan and just shake my head, because they just put in hours after hours after hours. So I believe it is something that we need to recognize publicly, is the staff that we do have, because without them, we couldn't do our job. So we do appreciate each and every one of you. Miss Hunter, I send people to you all the time. I said, look, if you want knowledge about something, talk to Miss Hunter. If it's got anything to do with Tallahassee, she's got her finger on it. She knows. So we appreciate all you do too. And you don't get a lot, but we do appreciate you very much. And Ian has helped me tremendously. I went in there and bug him all the time. He sees the door open, he probably wants to close it, sees me coming. And Don, the same thing with Don. If I call him, he's always on the spot. The only one I'm really concerned about is Tracy, and she's just never there.
Tracy the Great.
But all joking aside, thank you all for what you do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner X.
I'd like to echo the same thing. Every time I call, it's, quick response. It's not, hey, let me get back with you, and never get a call back. It's been really great. But I don't have anything really.
Well, I need my sidewalks, that's all I know. I'm not even worried about it, and I'm not bragging on nobody. I'm too, I am so grateful. We do have a good staff, where the people in the community don't really understand what you all do, and they do take a lot of heat. But I do have a question for Shane and, Tommy about the tree on Della Tobias. Have you all decided? Okay, thank you so much. But, Road and Bridge and, the code, I tell you, they're great guys, and I don't think we could have anybody else to do what they do, and people don't understand what they do. I appreciate you, the staff, so also thank you. At this time, this meeting is adjourned.